Hey there, everyone. Marissa here. If you've ever been on TV and you've been watching some shows and it seems like everything is the same old thing and you're looking for something different, and perhaps you're an entrepreneur and you would love to see something that is not only entertaining, but inspirational, then you want to listen because I have a special guest today and we're going to talk about a new project he's involved with. And that's all I'm going to say for now because it's going to be a phenomenal show. So stay tuned to the Resilient Faith Online Show. Welcome. I'm Marissa Shadrick, host of the Resilient Faith Online Show. I'm an online marketing coach and certified copywriter. In this podcast, you'll find a different perspective to the external and internal challenges we face as online content creators. Join me for some inspiration and practical tips as we create positive change online. To connect with me in my private Facebook group, go to marissashadrick.com/community. Hello, everyone. I'm so excited that you're here today. Today, I have a special guest. He is a successful consultant and he has worked with various companies like big brands such as Target and Neiman Marcus and Starbucks, Holiday Inn, and so forth. But he's multi-talented. And we're going to talk a little bit about this. And we're going to talk about his latest project. He is the co-founder and producer of BizableTV. Please welcome Paul Klein. Hi, Paul. How are you?
Hey, Marissa. Glad to be here. This is exciting.
This is exciting. I'm so glad to have you here on the show. Maybe we should tell everybody how we met because this was just a recent interaction here, like 2 weeks ago, I think it was.
Yeah, right? The power of conferences.
I know the power of conferences. The conferences are always great, right? You learn so much, but it's during the breaks, when you're supposed to be going to the bathroom, when you interact with people. And so even though you can get really tired and, exhausted from the traveling and listening to speakers, boy, it's so worth it taking the time during those breaks to connect. And that's how we connected. We connected during one of those breaks, and I was so glad we did. So tell us, Paul, tell us a little bit about yourself. I would love to know kind of the backstory. Where are you coming in from? Where do you live, first of all?
Well, I'm based in Nashville, Tennessee. My wife and I have been married 28 years, 3 grown kids, and been a lifelong entrepreneur. But like so many of us, I discovered those tendencies early in my youth and into my early 20s. And then discounted them a bit. I used to have long hair. I played in a hair band in the 80s, and then cut my hair, met my wife. She straightened me out, got me on the right track. And I did the conventional, career, go to work for try to go work for the same company, get benefits and retirement and all that. And finally at 40, I'd climbed the ladder to basically the highest I want. I was like a mid-manager in my local town. I could ride my bike to work, full benefits, high 6-figure salary. Life was perfect. 3 kids, but this was 2009. And I realized I was an entrepreneur stuck in a bureaucracy. I couldn't handle it anymore.
Wow. You had that itch, huh?
Yeah. And so started looking inward and around, and then really started just looking at things that I'd learned from my mentor, Dan Miller, from 48 Days, The Work You Love, and just thought, what skills and things could I do that could really help the market that complement my personality and merge those things together. And anyway, so in 2009, I started my own consulting business on the side. And I think it was in December of 08. It might've been December of 08 or December of 09. I can't remember, but my wife was just tired of me here, and I was moonlighting on the side, for 15 hours, 20 hours a week and doing really well. And I was like, man, I'm going to quit my job. I kept saying, I was always complaining. And she finally said one day, you know what? I believe in you. Just shut up and just don't tell me if you ever do it. And so I go, okay, there's the window. So one day she was, it was Sunday night or something. And she's like, hey, Paul, do you think on Monday you could get off early at my kids? I got to take I got a doctor's appointment. Can you pick up the kids? And I'm like, well, it was the Monday after I had quit. And I said, well, I can pick up the kids anytime you want, honey. And she was like, no, you didn't do it. And I was, I think I was offered for a holiday or something. And she's like, no, you didn't do it. And then ever since then, W-9 K-1 employee, and leaving the cave every day, and started a few businesses since then, a SaaS company, consulting company, and now my latest venture, which is BizableTV, which I'm super excited about.
Oh, so you never looked back, huh?
No, it was the smartest decision I ever made. I was 40, and I was like, I was just, I was expected, society and everything was like, you need to stay there till you're 55 and retire,
Right.
and I could have, but I would have died of a stroke or, divorce or whatever. I would have been miserable.
Oh,
So
yeah, yeah,
I'm
yeah.
so glad I did. And I within, a couple of years, I quadrupled my salary. So it was just like, not that
Wow.
salary was the only thing, but it was definitely financially the smart move.
Well, I'm sure your wife was happy about that.
Yeah. The taking the whole family to Jamaica and Hawaii a few times.
Yeah.
Definitely was
Now
was a blessing.
that was pretty bold because if I recall here, 2008, 2009, we're talking recession and things were a little different for all of us. And so how is life different for you? Now you were at home. So was that drastic? Was that an adjustment for you and your family or
It
was it?
was. It was a learning process. Yeah, the October crash of '08. The stock market went from like 12,000 down to 3 or 35 or something like that. It was very, very scary time. Obama had just become elected, and yeah, everybody's like, man, you got a mortgage. This is not the time to be doing it. The housing market from all the subprime loans was crashing. I mean, it was like even my dad was like, are you sure? and but I knew, man, I had gotten the boat closer to the dock. I had things in place. I was very strategic, and finally when that point came to jump, man, it was just like a launching point. It's not like I just ready, aim, fire. I was
Right.
putting things in place, and then yeah, I started on the card table in the front room, just like Dave Ramsey and all the stories of entrepreneurs, and then eventually built a little detached office. We lived on 5 acres in Northern California at the time, and then yeah, I was there just chugging away, and slowly built over time, and it was a wonderful time, and a great
Yeah,
experience.
that's awesome. You mentioned Dan Miller. Did you have other mentors or people in business that supported you?
Yeah, he's probably the big one. I mean, he's still my coach, mentor, friend today. I'm in his mastermind, and so he's just a wonderful person, and learned so much from him. But he turned me on to books, The Go Getter, and
Yeah.
Thou Shalt Prosper from Rabbi Lapin, and all
Yeah.
the great books.
Yeah.
Go to work on your business, not in your business, by
Yes.
and Good to Great. I mean, so I was consuming all that information and just like going, wow, I really, this is my world. This is where I belong. I don't belong in a bureaucracy, in a corporation, or
Right.
a local government. I worked for some local government, which is a whole nother story. But yeah, so there were more virtual mentors. I didn't really have a coach at that time, other than or masterminds. I didn't really look at like a formal business coach until probably 2015 or 16, about 6 years later. Probably
Yeah.
should have done it earlier, but
So you did a lot of consulting. There's a lot of things, and you were able to just grow your business very quickly. 3 years, you had a lot of success. And then what happened along the way? It seemed like you evolved into another space. Tell us about that.
yeah. So early on, it was an expertise consulting based business. And I talk about having 3 pillars of revenue. And so I kind of intuitively created those by accident. And that's really what carried me through the highs and lows of client work. So
Yeah.
as you know, Marissa, client work is feast or famine a lot of times.
Yeah.
So we did, and I don't know where I got this from, Dan or just from Pat Flynn, those kinds of people. I was listening to it today, and Cliff Ravenscraft, just different podcasts. And so we offered up a workshop, and we're still doing this workshop to this day in that space. And that led me to my first Fortune 500 client. And then we also had an ebook. So the 3 pillars are your coaching client, your main consulting work. Then you want to have an or productized services like ebooks and online courses,
Mhm.
things you build once and make over and over. And then the third pillar is a speaking or training piece. Or we were more in the training piece. And so that training led to people wanting our other, and it just really helped us grow. So that was the first couple of years. And then through that process, we start out low 5 figures. Then it wasn't long, we hit 150,000, and then 250, and then got all the way up into the high fives really quick. And then about that time, it was about 14, my business partner, who was also consulting with me, we said, hey, we need to take all this knowledge we have and make an app, because apps were really, remember the iPhone and all that was really popular. So we took our IP and teamed up with a technology company to come up with a product in that vertical. And so we're still part owner in that company. It's a SaaS company, software as a service, wrapped around our IP in that same niche. And so that's business number 2. That officially launched in 2016.
Mm-hmm. Gotcha. And then that wasn't enough.
No,
you're a true entrepreneur. So I'm just eating this up. I'm loving the story. I'm loving how your life has evolved as far as the entrepreneurship. I'm just chomping at the bit. I would love for you to segue into your latest project that I'm really excited about.
Yeah.
And I've been just consuming it like crazy, and I can't hold it back anymore. I would just love it if you would tell us about it.
Yeah. So, BizableTV is a streaming service available on Roku, Amazon Fire, and iOS, soon to be on Android, Apple TV, and so forth, all smart TVs. And so we just launched in January, but I got to back up a little bit. So I like to think in my personal journey, and I'm sure a lot of your listeners can identify with this, because sometimes we do things like I was doing things, I had that job and it wasn't a good fit. Then I went into consulting and it did really well there, but I feel like that was a great advancement. But that was, as Guy Hendrick, I think it's Guy Hendrick, talks about your zone of excellence.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And that's where that for the last, 12 years, 15 years, that's where I've been. But BizableTV is my zone of genius. And I just love this whole space of entrepreneurs. And so last October, Kendall Johnson, my business partner in BizableTV and co-founder, he's just a brilliant I can't say cinematographer.
Cinematographer?
Yeah, there you go. Thank you. Cinematographer. And composer. He trained under Hans Zimmer in Hollywood for a while. He's done Netflix quality documentaries, and we became friends since moving here to Nashville. And I said, Kendall, if money was no object, what would you want to do? If he's like, man, I'd love to make documentaries. I go, yeah, I love documentaries. I'd like to do documentaries on entrepreneurs. I go, I was really getting into the streaming stuff last October, because when we moved here, there's no cable and CCNRs or whatever anyway. And so I was looking at YouTube TV and Hulu and just learning all about that. And I said, man, why isn't there a channel for entrepreneurs like us and like Marissa and like the people listening? Nothing against Elon Musk or Grant Cardone or Oprah Winfrey. They're all great people, and all the people on Shark Tank, but there isn't anything for us, solopreneurs, freelancers, coaches, consultants that are in this space that I can watch at night. I go, I wish there was something like that. So when Kendall said that, it sparked the thought process. I said, man, why don't we start our own network doing documentaries on entrepreneurs? And he said, well, let's do it. And it's one of those things, Marissa, it's like, when you have an idea, sometimes you have an idea and then you immediately hit yellow or red lights, kind of go into, what's his name's book, guy from Texas. But anyway, but we kept getting green lights. It's like, first question was, man, does it take, like, CNN, which just canceled their streaming service? They'd spent $500 million on their streaming service. So immediately thought, well, maybe, does it take hundreds of thousands or millions of dollars? Find out, no, low 5 figures. There's packages out there that you can do, even like Vimeo, who you probably may use for some of your videos. They have what's called an OTT service that can create channels just like we've done with BizableTV. And there's a lot of other products like that out there. But so got a green light. Then I said, we need to have a good name. And we were texting each other. I mean, we're like in the zone, like, this is such a great idea. We got to do it. We got to do it. And just kept researching and everything. And I said, we need a name. And so one morning I got in, was cleaning out my inbox, and I was couldn't get it out of my mind. I need a name. It's got to have something with business or biz, the BIZ.
Yeah.
And I ran across Teachable, because I'm on their mailing list.
Right.
And I go, Teachable. biz. And then I look, is it trademark? Is the domain available? Nope. The domain's available. Got the domain, and just boom, boom, boom. And then talk to a few people about being guests, and everybody's like, yes, I'm in. Dan Miller, Mike Kim, Jeff Brown. They're like, yes, I'm in. So we said, okay, we're going to start shooting in November, and we're launching January with 10 people and 50 episodes. And January 28th, we hit our goal, got the apps all built out and launched. And here we are. Super excited.
I know. I mean, are you hearing this? November, they start filming and they launch it in January. So for all of us that sometimes take 6 months to launch something, I hope we're inspired to move a little faster. But I just absolutely love Visible because it's the quality, first of all, is top notch. It's amazing. And I watch it on my TV, and I'm tired of flipping through the remote trying to find something,
Yeah.
And the nice thing is there's short little segments, there's a series. And so I can watch 1 or 2 or 3, depending on what time I'm going to bed. And it's so encouraging. It's so encouraging. And the thing that I love is we're hearing the backstory. We're hearing the origin story. We're hearing the real life ins and outs of entrepreneurs, how they got started. What were some of the obstacles they faced? What were their humble beginnings? And when we watch this, it's so encouraging because we don't feel alone. We just feel like,
Right.
gosh, there's stories like my story,
Yeah.
and we can connect, and it inspires us. Some of the things that were shared, it just inspires me. I'm going to get my book done. I mean, I'm going to get my book done because I've been watching lately some of the people talking about books and stuff, but
Yeah.
it's just so inspiring. And it's something that I love and look forward to watch. And it's so affordable and we can stream. And I mean, there's a power story, I mean, we could talk about story itself, but
Yeah.
I'm a movie person. I love movies. I love video. I love watching things because of that emotional connection,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
There's
Yeah,
emotional
I like to think it's like a podcast where you can learn from it, but it's also like a Netflix documentary where you get to see and feel the emotions a little more. And yeah, Kendall custom writes all that music. So all that music you hear in the background is all it, and for those of you listening, it's like Gladiator, Shawshank Redemption theatrical music. So when someone's talking about the struggle, like Shannon Mattern talking about how she was working a corporate job doing web design, making them millions of dollars, and then decided to go out on her own. As a woman, she told somebody she was a web designer, and the first time she did that, she felt like a fraud, like she lied. And the music matches that emotion. Jeff Brown got on a phone call with Ken Davis, who's also both our guests, and he was he felt like an imposter, even though Ken was interviewing him about his story.
Yeah.
He still felt like an imposter, and he actually shut the video down and had to go have a panic attack in the other room, and he blamed it on the dog. So
I remember that.
I'm laughing at Jeff's expense, but you to your point, Marissa, it's that emotional connection, and then we learn from that, and how we can be better in our own businesses and life from it.
Yeah. And we realize, the stepping stones, that it's not an overnight thing. But again, we hear stories about connection, and we hear stories about commitment, and we hear stories of passion and pain and all of that in the stories. And I think the questions that are asked, of course, we don't hear the questions, right? But I think whoever did that did a really good job because they are extracting those stories, and it's authentic. It's real. People are the people that you've interviewed are so generous and very transparent about their journey.
Right.
And I love it. I love it. I enjoy it so much. And I think entrepreneurs, as well as, I mean, you touched a little bit about reading books and podcasts. I think it's important for all of us to be constantly reading and listening to podcasts. And also, I think this is something that needs to be added as well, being a member of this Visible and watching these videos because they're so encouraging, so helpful. That's my 2 cents anyway. I'm a lifetime member.
I appreciate that. And you said it better than I can. And that a lot of people ask about our why, Simon Sinek's, what's the why? And that's exactly it. It's like, if we can help encourage, and let me take a step back. Marissa, on our journeys as an entrepreneur, we hit those roadblocks,
Mm-hmm.
those hills, like those sleepless nights when, man, did we make the right decision? Should I continue? Should I give up?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
If we can help some of those people get over that and see these other entrepreneurs that have done, there's just a few steps ahead, and help them get over, and with hope and inspiration, to keep going, because we all have, there's so many neat things that, and that's how we change the world is, it's not one big thing always. It's all the hundreds of millions of small things that people are doing in their businesses. And there's so many of us doing great things, and coaching, consulting, inspiring, helping other people. That doesn't get on the news. That's not on the forefront because you can't sell newspapers or ads, but that's where real change takes place.
Yeah. And that's what I'm all about. I constantly say, use what you have, the internet, films, to create positive change in the world, because we can. We can. And there's enough of us to do that. There's enough negative stuff out there, but we need to hear those real stories. And that's what I appreciate. All the people that you've interviewed, they just, again, so generous and so authentic. I really appreciate it, especially topics like just not feeling like they're enough, imposter syndrome, all those things that we think, oh, it's just me, I just need a therapist or something, but it's part of it, right? Because being an entrepreneur, it's kind of a lonely journey at times. And when we hear these stories, we find ourselves saying, oh, this is normal. This is the normal path. It's okay, and we can move on. And it's just a matter of taking those steps each day and protecting our confidence and knowing that this is just part of it. It's a learning experience, and we can extract so much value out of that experience for tomorrow, Exactly. And so I love Visible. I'm so glad that you guys did this, and I'm just amazed that you did it so quickly. I mean, because the quality is so good.
Oh,
really
thank you.
is. Yeah.
Yeah, we've got some great things planned. That's just the launch. Coming up, we are going to be launching a live TV show that we'll probably do once a quarter. If we get enough people, we'll do it every week, or we'll do it every night if it's real successful. But basically, you've been to a conference, and even at the conference we were at with Mike, you get the panel of experts, and you kind of have like a just a Q&A session with a panel of experts. I want to take that experience at the conference, but put it on a live TV show.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And so you'll be able to type in, through Visible or through Twitter or whatever, and ask questions. And then the field of experts each month we'll have new and different experts. So that's kind of a BizableTV show, and Jeff Brown's going to help me co-host that. And then we'll be rotating in 3 experts each week and just talking entrepreneurship, how you built your business, and just, how do you market, all those different things. And then the other thing we're going to be doing is, these are all what we call Docuseries. That's what we launched with. Those are basically one entrepreneur in about a 5-part docuseries. It's about 40 minutes long. And then we're going to be launching full-length documentaries, which are very behind the scenes, more in the behind the scenes with the entrepreneur. So we're working with some various names that I can't say yet, but where they're with their team, or if they're doing an event and behind the stage getting ready to go on, we'll take you into that whole environment and take you behind that whole brand and give you an inside look. And so we're looking to launch a couple of those a year as well. Those will be a little bit longer format too, but all entrepreneur and business based.
That's a great tease, especially when you say secret. It's like it causes us to lean in and stay tuned for the secret. Yeah, the conference he was referring to, and might as well give Mike a little plug there. It was the You Are the Brand with Mike Kim. He had a conference in Denver, and we had attended that, and that's how we met. And Mike Kim is amazing. He's one of my coaches. In fact, I'm going to be certified in his You Are the Brand. And so I just wanted to say that because we kind of teased about it, didn't say what it was, but it was Mike Kim's conference in Denver that we attended. So we're talking about just, the successes and this wonderful resource now that you have for entrepreneurs. I'm curious, in all of the various projects that you've been involved in, was there a time for yourself that it was difficult or challenging, or you had maybe those kind of doubts that you had to overcome?
All the time. My wife, I've gotten, since we launched, I'm feeling a lot better, but leading up to launch, we were working a lot of hours. We don't, I love Gary V and everything, but I don't subscribe to the Gary V work, 56 hours a day, to succeed. Now I do for seasons and projects.
Right.
But yeah, I think leading up to the launch and maybe even right after the launch, I was like, man, I'm just going to give this up and go join a band down in Nashville or something, just go become a real estate agent or something. And my wife's like, you dummy, without her keeping me straight and keeping me grounded. And she's been saying it all along, it takes time. And, we want it to happen now. We launched, we came short of our projections. We were hoping to have a few more subscribers than we have, but it's a process. And, and so you do question yourself whether, and I've done that. I've done that with Bizible, but I'm in a good place right now. We've had a lot of wins in the last few weeks that I can't talk about with some of those personalities. It's opened up some great doors. So I can see what's the word? I can see that it's going to be something special. It takes time to build those things. And as Mike Kim says, success is sequential, never instantaneous. And,
Right.
And even if it's instantaneous, it's not going to be valued and you'll probably crash. You've heard of the the lottery owners, or you hear about the
Right.
athlete that all of a sudden just gets a huge check and then just blows out and, blows his money and just, fails. So same thing here. You've got to go through those growing pains and fight through them, because then it becomes so much more enjoyable.
Yeah. Yeah. You also mentioned about really encouraging entrepreneurs and helping them to move forward. Why is that important to you? I'm curious. Why is it important? I know I've got some thoughts and I love encouraging entrepreneurs, but I wanted to see what you had to say about that.
Yeah, I think it goes back to our why, and I didn't go in deep enough, but let me go a little deeper. So I told you our why is to provide help and encouragement for those to get over the hump and keep going.
Yeah.
It goes back, I think, to my core value of when I was in my day job at 40, married with 3 kids, miserable, felt like I had to stay, felt like there was no hope, felt like there was no other way out. You were expected to join the military or go get a job with a company and do your time until you retire. And I felt all that pressure. And entrepreneurship, that's not an option. That's not a serious job. That's just some crazy dream. Don't do that. And now I realize in my 40s and 50s that, man, and early in my band days, when I was chasing that dream, I was being an entrepreneur. I was selling concert tickets and selling tapes, and I had paper routes, and I worked different things to do things. And then at 24, I got that corporate job, and just did that whole thing. And so I go back to that when I'm in my 40s, and those other people, and those might be listening, that are just like in that dreaded day job, feel like there's no hope, feel like their life has, maybe no purpose or whatever. And the power of entrepreneurship is so uplifting, and so it's not for everybody. So, I mean, if you're a widget maker, and I don't mean that in a bad way, I mean, if you like the security and the steadiness of a day job, absolutely stay it. Just look at your job as an entrepreneur. But entrepreneurship and having your own business and being able to write your own ticket, work with people when you want, where you want, with who you want, determine your own value. Oh, that's just such a wonderful place to be. And I wish more people could experience it.
It is. And they actually create jobs for other people too, because they begin to outsource things, and we can stimulate the economy, and we can hire from anywhere in the world, right?
Yes.
Because we're online. So it's just a win-win, and having that flexibility, that's what people want. I mean, we hear a lot about work-life balance, and we hear a lot about stress. And I think when people embrace this idea, know that it does take time, it's sequential, that it gives you options. And that's the lovely thing. When I was young, we didn't have, especially for a woman, I mean, options as far as your own business. It was either Avon or Amway or something.
Right.
We didn't have that many options, at least we didn't think about that.
Yep.
And as soon as the internet and when computers started, I mean, I was just infatuated with computers when they first came out. I thought, this is the future. I was just
Yeah.
so excited. And I'm kind of a geek when it comes to computers and stuff. But there's options. And there's a word that you said that really resonated with me, and that is hope. I think we need to use our gifts, our talents, our abilities to bring hope. And if we can do that and people can begin to generate revenue and create jobs for other people and impact the world because we have the internet, why not? And why not you as a listener? Why not you? But again, like you said, I think we need to immerse ourselves in reading and being able to find those people that will affirm our dreams and mentors, because we can't do it alone. We're not meant to live on an island and do it alone. So I'm just so excited about Visible because I watch it, I love it. And another thing I'm going to say, and Paul, I know you probably will agree with me. Some of these stories, I've only heard some stories of some entrepreneurs that are big names when I've joined a high ticket program, and high ticket meaning more than $10,000. And then in those situations, sometimes you hear their backstory, you hear their humble beginnings, and you feel, like I get to hear this because I've invested in this and I'm part of this community, but you don't always hear all those stories.
Right.
And so in this, you can hear the stories. And again, I think it just helps people not only have the hope, but also know that they're not alone, that they're part of the club, right? If they're going
Yeah.
through some of those ups and downs, it's what we all go through. And there is a light at the end of the tunnel. There is a sunrise after the darkness. And to know that it's just all part of it. And I think, would you say that you've learned a lot from those times that it wasn't going as well, or maybe you were anxious or a little overwhelmed? Would you say that that was kind of a learning experience for you?
Yeah, absolutely. It's you got to go through those struggles, like anything worth having a successful marriage, good kids, you got to
Yeah.
go through those trials and tribulations. Like you don't just learn how to walk. You've got to fall down 3 or 4 times. You don't just learn how to ride a bike. You crash a few times, and
Right.
then when you finally get it, it's like, yes, freedom,
Right.
and same thing in business, and this whole expertise, the knowledge economy that we're in is no different.
Yeah. So, Paul, if someone is just eager to find out, how do they access Visible? Where do they go to be able to do this?
Yeah, the easiest way is just go to BizableTV.com. It's BIZABLE TV.com. I'm sure maybe you can include some of the links in the
Absolutely.
show notes, and you can watch some of the trailers there. You can sign up. I mean, we're talking less than Netflix. I can't remember if we set up a coupon code for you, but we can do that and put it in the show notes for Marissa's audience, since you guys are all awesome out there and you might want to check it out. It's less than Netflix, it's in that range, but we'll have a special there for you. And then if you're not ready to subscribe and you just want to connect with me, you can go to paulklein.net, and I have what's called the Visible TV letter. And each week I give you my best tips and tricks for business. I scan the world of business, and I bring in articles, resources. One of the very highlights of the weekly newsletter that most people like is I put a list of events for entrepreneurs. And so you can quickly, I've always like, man, why isn't there a place where I can find out where all the conferences are? I have to search. I want one place where they're all at. So I do that for you. So in the newsletter, and then I do a book recommendation of the week, and just provide really good business nuggets, all value based. And I think we drop one weekly episode. We'll tell you which weekly episode would drop, because we do drop a weekly episode on Visible TV. So we'll usually include that in there in case you're interested. But yeah, that's paulklein.net, the Visible TV letter, or BizableTV.com. Both are great places to connect with me.
That's awesome. And do you have a podcast as well?
Yeah, it's a Visible TV podcast. It started out as the Pricing is Positioning podcast, which is another topic I love talking about for people who struggle with their pricing and what to charge. We could probably do a whole nother episode on that, but it's now rebranded to the Visible TV podcast. I still talk pricing, and in my newsletter I put some pricing stuff out there. But if you go to all your favorite podcast players or whatever you're listening on right now and just type in Visible TV, and we run coupons and updates on there. And when we do some exciting things, you'll find out there first.
That's awesome. All right. So we'll have all that information in the show notes for you. I just really encourage you to check it out because I absolutely love it. And if you love story, if you're tired of searching with your remote, trying to find something to watch, and you want something that's going to not only encourage you, be entertaining, but also help you for your business, you need to sign up for this. This is awesome. Paul, thank you so much. You know, my son lives in Tennessee and near Nashville. So I am going to reach out to you when I'm over there visiting him, and maybe we can have lunch or something.
Yeah, let's do it. And we have our studio down in downtown Nashville at the Film House. So we can give you a tour too. Maybe
Oh,
do
that'd
an
be
interview
cool.
while we're there. Who knows?
That would be cool. That would be cool. I'll take a lot of pictures and put it on Instagram.
Yeah, yeah, that'll be
Yeah,
fun.
I'm one of those true fans. So yeah, for sure. That would be awesome. So any last words, Paul, for people that maybe are an entrepreneur, maybe they're fairly new, maybe they're having some doubts, struggling, discouraged, anything that you can say to them?
Yes, this is one of my keynotes that I love to teach people. And if you're starting out, you're a seasoned or aspiring entrepreneur, business person, or whatever, this is what I've always lived by looking back. And now I've been able to find a way to convey it into simple words. And that is, whenever you have that idea or that you want to do or something you want to achieve, make the vision greater than the fear. So always make your vision greater than the fear. When the fear sets in, think about the vision. Dream, man, if I launch this streaming podcast or a network, we'll get 20,000 signups and, I'll have all the freedom in the world. And then I thought, well, I can't, who am I to launch that? Oh, I'm going to think about being successful. Keep thinking about the vision of success and where you want to go, that beacon.
Yeah.
And don't let that fear, don't spend time on the fear. Acknowledge it, but get past it.
I love it. That is good advice. Thank you so much, Paul. I really appreciate you taking the time to be on the podcast. Just look forward to more of the content on Visible. And thank you so much for providing that for us. I think it's an awesome resource. So thank you.
Absolutely. Honored to be here. And thank you for having me, Marissa. It's been great.
All righty. Take care, everyone. Bye-bye.